guys, welcome to another video. Today I was going to do a video on my current running shoe rotation. I get asked questions from time to time about what shoes I switch and run in, so I just thought I would go through it. I real often run, I'm a big fan of Altra shoes. I like zero drop shoes, but both my Riveras and my Torrens I have retired because they had too many miles on them, so I really don't have any Altra road shoes in right now, but I'm running in some other shoes. I find that shoes, I'm a little bit particular. I like between a 0mm drop and a 6mm drop, but there's a lot of shoes in that range that work for me. For an everyday trainer right now, I'm actually using, I've got an Atreyu. This is their base model V2. It has a 6mm drop. It's got the supercritical EVA foam. It's their nice light upper. It's a very lightweight shoe. I think in a men's size 9 they're about 6 ounces. In my size 11.5 they're about 7 ounces. These have been very good shoes. I'm enjoying these for everyday shorter runs. I've also got a pair of the original Atreyu base model version 1. I've got these, and I've got another version in storage. I was on the subscription model with Atreyu back when they had it where you get a new shoe for $55, and I kind of got a variety, so I've got these and then I've got one more. These primarily, they work great on the roads. I've run on them some on the roads, but I'm mostly using these on the treadmill for my treadmill runs. And again, they've got the nice light airy upper that fits well. They have the 6mm offset. It actually even says that on the side of the shoe. But these just have a regular EVA foam, and you run on the rubberized EVA foam. And these shoes normally don't last as long for me because you're running on that foam and it wears down. I'm usually getting around 200 miles in the Atreyus, but they definitely cost less. So the third shoe I'm using on the road currently is the Skechers GoRun MaxRoad 5. They also have a 6mm stack height. They're pretty built up. They have a pretty big heel. These I'm using a lot on long runs. The Atreyus are nice and light and airy. You can run in them pretty far, but I found that I like a little bit more cushion for my really long runs. These MaxRoad 5's been great. I've got a couple hundred miles on them, and I plan to keep using these for my long runs until I get my until I purchase. Well, they'll probably get used up about by then, but about the time I'm using these up, the new version of the Altra road shoes, the Torn and the Escalante, should come out, so I will bring them into the rotation. Again, it's a 6mm offset as well. And since all three of the road shoes that I'm running in right now primarily are 6mm offsets, and I still like to do some miles in my 0mm offset, I've got an old pair of Merrell Bare Access. These shoes, I've used Merrell Bare Access since about 2010. They work great for me. They're not highly cushioned, but they've got a little bit, and they're zero drop shoe. They're great in that they have a Vibram outsole. They're a little firmer shoe. This is the last pair. They've been discontinued, so I'm holding on to these, but I'm rotating them in occasionally to go for a run, probably maybe once a week. I'm going out in these just because I want to get a run in at a 0mm offset in a road shoe. So these probably only have about 50 miles in them. They'll probably, in the past, these shoes have lasted me probably 450 miles, so I've got quite a bit of time to use these yet. But I'm not rushing through them. I'm going to use them off and on anyway. As far as the trail goes, my primary road trail shoe right now is the Altra Lone Peak 5. It's a 0mm drop shoe. It has 25mm of their Ego midsole, which is pretty bouncy. It's got their Max Grip outsole, which I think Max Track outsole, which I find works pretty well. It's probably not quite as sticky as Vibram that some shoes have, but it works pretty well. I just find these extremely comfortable. This is my third or fourth pair of Lone Peaks I've had. They just work really well for me in about all trail conditions. I really like that they have what Altra calls their original fit. It has the really wide toe box. They're just extremely comfortable and work real well for me. Now I do have one other road shoe. My Lone Peaks have over 300 miles on them, and I usually get about 450 miles out of my Lone Peaks. So I did some calculations and figured out they probably weren't going to last me the rest of the year. I thought about buying the Lone Peak 6s, but these are still good for quite a while. So I decided I would try a different Altra trail shoe model. I actually went and first I bought their new Altra Mont Blancs. Their new, they call it the racing shoe. It's like $180. It's got a 33 millimeter, 32 or 33 millimeter stack height of their Ego Max midsole. It's the same midsole that comes in like the Torrens. I bought those. I bought them in my normal 11.5 size that I wear for all my Altra shoes, but I could not get the heel to lock. They kind of changed the design through the heel, and my foot was slipping. I ended up returning those shoes, and I ordered these instead, another pair instead. I have since got to go on a Altra shoe demo day with my trail running group, where they brought out the Mont Blancs again for us to try. I put on a half size smaller, or size 11, and I figured out that would work for me. It would hold in through the heel, so I could actually buy the Mont Blancs in a slightly smaller size and be okay. I'm still not sure I would be quite as confident that the heel would hold when it gets real technical or super hilly, but they would work, and they feel great when you're running on them, because they're nice and fairly light and very bouncy. But what I did when I returned the Mont Blancs is I went and I bought the new Altra Timp 4s. They also have an Ego Max midsole at the 30 millimeter height, so they're very squishy as well. I'm really enjoying these shoes. I've only gotten about 38 miles in them, so I haven't done a full review, but I did an initial review on them. Full review to come. They seem to have a lot of drainage holes. I haven't actually run in them when it's been wet. The majority of our trails around us, they close down when it rains, so you really don't get many opportunities to run when it's wet, other than probably going to a race. But anyway, I will somehow figure out how to test how well the water comes out, and I'll put that in that review. That's pretty well it for my shoe rotation right now. Now, I will say I do have a few special condition shoes that I use. I didn't bring those out, but I've got a pair of Innovate X Talon 200s that I've had for probably 4 years, and they're real lightweight. They don't have a rock guard. They very thin, but they've got a really long lugs, and they are just wonderful when it's muddy out. They also, other condition I would run on those is that they don't have a lot of cushion, but if you're on a non-technical trail and you're not worried a lot about rocks, so you don't need the rock plate, I would run in them there, especially if it's not real rocky. And then I run in them when it gets muddy, because the grip is just phenomenal. Those shoes I have run in them up to 50K a couple times. They have a couple 100 miles, but I just kind of keep those for special conditions. The other special condition shoes I have is I have a couple pair of carbon fiber plated shoes. I normally don't run in those in a day-to-day basis. I kind of am reserving those for races. I have an Atreyu, the Artist. I actually used those in my 50K road race, the Hachi 50 here a couple weeks ago. And I've also got a pair of the Saucony Endorphin Pros, and those are also really good shoes with the plate. They're a little bit of a break for me in that they have an 8 millimeter drop, And I find that I start really feeling the plate in those when I get to 16 to 18 miles. But I'm planning to probably use those some for my 5K races this weekend. I mean this summer, and I would probably not hesitate to use those in any race up to probably a half marathon or 25K. Anyway, those are just specialty use shoes. They're not part of my normal rotation, but they're ones I'll bring in from time to time. Anyway, that is it for my running shoe rotation as of May 2022. I hope you found it interesting. If you like the video, please consider hitting the thumbs up, the like button. If you're interested in more of my content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Other than that, I hope you're having a great week and keep moving.